My name is Ashok Mukherjee. I used to be India's ambassador to the United Nations. Before that, I used to lead India's delegations on cyber dialogues with the United States, the United Kingdom, European Union, Japan, and the Russian Federation. I have been involved in addressing issues relating to cyberspace for over 10 years now. And based on this experience, I have been one of the advocates after I came back to India and started writing and lecturing in India on the need for an international convention on cyberspace. I believe it is very important for India as one of the countries which is a major user of cyber technology to have such an international convention if we are to realize our ambition of transforming India. While discussing issues of war and peace, the pervasive impact of technology-driven change on these issues which impact on us as individuals, societies, and countries cannot be ignored. These technologies, especially information and communication technologies or ICTs, are an integral part of the new man-made environment of what we call cyberspace. At the heart of this environment is data. Collecting, transmitting, and using data has become the new norm for countries visible in varying degrees. Every day, we become more aware of the interdependent linkages of this activity. Countries have acknowledged that international cooperation in cyberspace is necessary for accelerating socio-economic development while ensuring the integrity, predictability, and security of cyberspace. Due to the trans-border evolution of cyber technology and its use by different sections of society, the most sustainable approach for effective international cooperation in cyberspace is a multi-stakeholder approach. Institutional cooperation in cyberspace, in addition to drawing upon traditional principles of international law, needs to address the strengths and vulnerabilities of this domain. This requires a focus on the kinds of technologies and applications that lie behind what is loosely called the Internet. Wireless and fixed-band broadband, smartphones, the mobile internet, cloud computing, open data, big data, and social media, and their linked critical national infrastructures are the stable of global conversations on cyberspace. Emerging concepts related to the application of cyber technologies like the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and robotics are expected to significantly impact on cyberspace and our lives in the next few years. The normative approach for international cooperation on cyberspace, therefore, needs to reflect this complex and diverse and dynamic reality. Some countries have taken the leadership in this area. These include the United States, China, the Russian Federation, European countries, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Brazil, and India. In the case of India, the first driver for greater international cooperation in cyberspace was the need to ensure the continued growth of information technology-enabled services which have resulted in our country's global profile in areas such as exports of software development and applications. As part of a trade-off to significantly expand the exports of cyber services, India entered into a zero-tariff regime for computer and peripherals as part of the WTO's Information Technology Agreement 25 years ago. India's revenues from the information technology-enabled services are today estimated at more than $140 billion every year, of which our export earnings are close to $120 billion. Apart from looking at technology and its applications, India has also prioritized the associated movement of skilled Indian manpower in cyber sectors abroad who contribute to developing cutting-edge technology in cyberspace through businesses. Remittances from this group of expatriate Indians are a significant part of the annual inflow of over $65 billion to India every year. A second driver for India's prioritization of using information and communication technologies is for accelerated socio-economic development through what is known as the Digital India Platform. This platform uses the technology of the Aadhaar database, which is the world's largest national biometric database, and is directed towards empowerment and towards bridging digital divides. A third driver for India's involvement in cyberspace is the growing electronic commerce domain. This is important for India because all of India's major trading partners, including the United States, the European Union, Japan and China, have announced their determination to frame rules of the road for electronic commerce. India's recognition of the stakes, therefore, will be an important part of achieving international cooperation in cyberspace. The four main stakeholders in cyberspace today are acknowledged to be governments, businesses, academia, and civil society. These stakeholders exist in all countries which are part of the United Nations, although the roles of individual stakeholders may vary within each country. Of these four, governments have the primary responsibility for cyberspace policies and the application of cyber technologies for public services within their national jurisdictions. In an interlinked global cyber domain, governments have also the responsibility and interest in ensuring effective international cooperation. Businesses, due to their focus on innovation and the application of cyber technologies which they have patented or copyrighted, have a major impact on how governments formulate cyber policies nationally and how they approach international cooperation on cyber issues globally. Academia plays a key role in research and development, innovation and conceptualizing theories regarding cyberspace, often partnering businesses to bring the results of these activities to the wider world. And the fourth stakeholder, civil society, focuses on the impact of the activities of governments, businesses, and academia in cyberspace, with a special focus on the human dimension, both individually and collectively. All four stakeholders are involved in generating greater awareness of cyber issues from their own perspectives, highlighting the strengths and vulnerabilities of cyberspace. Against this background, what has been achieved so far on ensuring effective international cooperation in cyberspace? Four initiatives stand out. First, in a purely government-led initiative, attempts to create an international framework for cooperation in cyberspace have been discussed in the United Nations General Assembly, or the UNGA. A draft UNGA resolution proposed by Russia was adopted in 1998. Second, governments have led a multi-stakeholder process for creating a framework through the UNGA to harness cyberspace for development. The outcome of this was the Tunis Agenda adopted in 2005. Third, governments have led a multi-stakeholder process in the UNGA to prioritize the use of cyber technologies as a means for implementing sustainable development goals of Agenda 2030, which was reiterated at a high-level meeting in December 2015. And fourth, in an attempt to protect the growing vulnerabilities of cyberspace and investments in this domain, businesses have proposed in February 2017 that governments adopt what they call a Digital Geneva Convention. Most of the progress on creating a normative framework in cyberspace has been dominated by the first initiative taken by governments to agree on cyber norms for securing cyberspace. The basis of this initiative was a UNGA resolution of 1998, which had emphasized that progress in science and technology for civilian applications needs to be maintained and encouraged. In order to place norms on securing cyberspace in the context of international security, governments adopted a UNGA resolution in 2002 on what is called the global culture of cybersecurity. This approach highlighted 9 elements which could contribute to such a global culture, including awareness, responsibility, response, ethics, democracy, risk assessment, security design and implementation, security management, and reassessment. Subsequently, a group of governmental experts mandated by a UNGA resolution in 2003 sought to take this initiative forward. The GGE group was given the mandate to formulate recommendations in the context of disarmament, global challenges, and threats to peace that affect the international community. The work of this group since 2004 has been impacted to nominate governmental experts. In absence of a roster of such experts in the United Nations, the UN Secretary General followed the principle of geographical equitable distribution with the help of member states in a position to render such assistance. However, the reality of the United Nations has ensured that the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, which are China, France, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States, are constantly nominated to the group of experts while rotating representatives from other developing countries such as India. The predictable consequence of this has been the dominance of the work of the group by the permanent members at the expense of the rotating developing countries. The group has identified 11 norms so far for securing cyberspace. These include norms for a stable and secure cyberspace, attribution of cyber attacks, responsibility of states not to let their territory be used for cyber attacks, cooperation between states on exchanging information on terrorist and criminal use of cyber technologies, respect for human rights in cyberspace, inviolability of cyber infrastructure for public services, protection of critical national infrastructure, maintenance of integrity of the supply chain, and reporting of vulnerabilities in cyberspace through the sanctity of National Computer Emergency Response Teams, which are known as CERTs. Since identifying these norms, the group has been polarized and embroiled in controversy because of great power politics, especially between the United States on the one side and China and Russia on the other. This has prevented the implementation of the norms which have been identified so far. Now, faced with this situation, India has responded by initiating a national multi-stakeholder study for designing cyber norms for India. The participation of government ministries and departments, businesses, academia, and civil society have created an expanded set of norms which is proposed for India to consider in securing cyberspace so that we are able to also meet our objectives of sustainable development. The development dimension of cyberspace is critical for a country like India. We depend on cyberspace for achieving our goals of poverty eradication, health, education, gender equality and empowerment, clean water and sanitation, employment, infrastructure construction, and a blue economy. Transforming India through the platform of Digital India and the mechanism of the Aadhaar database depends on the resilience of cyberspace. India's multi-stakeholder approach gives coherence to India's initiative, positioning her to play a leadership role in the eventual creation of an equitable international normative framework for effective cooperation in cyberspace. The agreement on the Global Sustainable Development Goals contains within it a commitment for achieving each sustainable goal through multi-stakeholder negotiations using information and communication technology. This was prioritized by the agreement reached in July 2015 for a technology facilitation mechanism. The Sustainable Development Goals include eradication of poverty as an overarching objective, the importance of good health and well-being, the quality of education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, and looking at water, life on earth, peace, justice, and strong institutions and partnerships. In all these areas, information and communication technologies have a very important role to play. While reviewing the implementation of the Tunis Agenda in December 2015, the General Assembly emphasized the importance of the need for effective international cooperation in cyberspace to achieve globally agreed goals of sustainable development. The review emphasized that cyber technologies were critical to bridge digital divides and provide equitable access to cyberspace. The creation of an enabling partnership between private and public sectors in financing the growth of cyberspace was emphasized, as was the protection of human rights online, including the freedom of expression and privacy, and the management of the Internet as a multilateral, transparent, democratic, and multi-stakeholder process. The emergence of a clutch of major transnational businesses, many of whom are headquartered in the United States, has so far driven the evolution of cyberspace. Among these, Microsoft has taken the lead in proposing a framework for international cooperation in cyberspace through a digital Geneva Convention. This idea was suggested by Microsoft in 2017 to bring governments together to protect cyberspace, which companies like Microsoft believe is owned and operated by the private sector. The objective of a digital Geneva Convention would be for the world's governments to pledge that they will not engage in cyber attacks on the private sector, that they will not target civilian infrastructure, whether if it is of the electrical or economic or political variety. Microsoft has given the responsibility of creating such a framework to governments. The impact of these 4 initiatives on the ground has generated greater awareness about the need for effective international cooperation in cyberspace on specific issues of cybersecurity and cybercrime. Such awareness regarding the larger issues of cyberspace require effective international cooperation, and this has been pursued by so far 5 multi-stakeholder global conferences on cyberspace, beginning with the London Conference in 2011. The London Conference identified 5 broad themes for international cooperation in cyberspace. These were economic growth and development, social benefits, international security, tackling cybercrime, and ensuring safe and reliable access to cyberspace. Subsequently, similar global conferences have been held in Budapest in 2012, which highlighted the importance of capacity building in cyberspace and the linkage between internet security and internet rights, as well as the role of civil society in cyberspace policies. Seoul Conference in 2013 highlighted the need for universal access to cyberspace to accelerate development. And the Hague Conference of 2015 established a global forum on cyber expertise to promote capacity building. India hosted the 5th Global Conference in November 2017 with a focus on a secure and inclusive cyberspace for sustainable development. The intent of the conference was to promote the importance of inclusiveness and human rights in global cyber policy to defend the status quo of an open, interoperable, and unregimented cyberspace, to create political commitment for capacity building initiatives to address the digital divide and assist countries to meet the objectives of international cooperation in cyberspace. The contribution by representatives of civil society to these discussions has been uneven. A sample of the ideas contained by civil societies was explained at the 5th conference held in New Delhi of the Global Conference on Cyberspace, and the concerns of civil society in an eventual international framework for cooperation in cyberspace revolve around people-centric issues, including meaningful access to cyberspace for all individuals, the existence of an open and dependable internet, and an inclusive and transparent process for setting cyberspace policies and norms. Many of the issues, both technical as well as policy related in cyberspace, need to be addressed in a predictable manner based on transparent principles and provisions. To create a viable framework for effective international cooperation in cyberspace, the UN General Assembly would first need to discuss and adopt a resolution mandating the negotiation of a comprehensive treaty for cyberspace, which will bring together the key technical and policy issues raised in the various initiatives described so far. The most relevant precedent for such a viable legal framework in cyberspace was the discussion of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, which already has within its scope the critical cyber infrastructure for the free flow of data on the ocean floors where the fiber optics cables are located. In November 1967, the General Assembly called for an effective international regime over the seabed and ocean floor beyond a clearly defined national jurisdiction. The UNCLOS process brought together the freedom of the seas doctrine with technological changes that had altered man's relationship with the ocean. That led to the 3rd UN Conference on the Law of the Sea in 1973 and ended 9 years later in 1982 with the adoption of the Convention on the Law of the Sea. An international convention on cyberspace should include the 11 norms on cybersecurity which have been proposed by the UN governmental group of experts, as well as the socio-economic development issues highlighted in the implementation of the UN's Tunis agenda, as well as the global conferences on cyberspace. In view of multi-stakeholder nature of cyberspace, enforcing such a treaty would require an innovative dispute settlement mechanism combining the structure and practice of dispute settlement in UNCLOS with that of the World Trade Organization, which has been adjudicating disputes involving governments and businesses since 1995. International relations are currently being churned by unexpected disruptions and growing protectionist sentiments. The need for a predictable, secure, and rule-based structure for cyberspace is a priority for technology-driven process of socio-economic development.